Hello and happy Sunday morning to you. This is First Alert Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Russ. Just want to give you an update on what's going on now, what we are expecting throughout the afternoon, evening, and overnight hours into early Monday morning. If you haven't peeked outside yet, you're just waking up, you're going to find snow and wind out there, and that is going to be something that's going to continue. If you've already looked outside, you know what it looks like, and really this is kind of just the beginning of what we're expecting to be a very tricky, very poor travel day, one that's going to find several inches of snow across many locations, though the wind is going to whip it around so much. Some areas it's going to look like a lot of snow, others very little, but again, we'll cover that here in just 1 second. We're going to start by looking outside and what we see, and that is very poor visibility. You can see it right there looking off the camera in Fargo. You can see our temperature as well. You see 8 degrees as of about 9:20 here in the morning. So what we're going to do is kind of walk you through what we are expecting as we head through the daytime hours today and into the evening, and we're going to start by showing you, of course, the first alert weather date. This goes through Monday morning, so tomorrow morning, snow accumulation, strong winds. Those winds will pick up in particular once we get into the early mid-afternoon and again evening overnight hours. Now, some of the snow obviously coming down will already be on the ground. That wind going to whip that snow around. In addition, we'll continue to see snow across much of the region through the afternoon and evening hours. So travel impacts, well, it's going to be pretty rough, and I think as the day progresses, the worse it is going to be out there. Also, in addition, if that wasn't enough, falling temperatures as well. So here's a look at all of our alerts combined into one spot here, where you're seeing the pink, and we'll cover this more for you in detail in just 1 second. Just giving you the snapshot here, the watch out. You can see the blizzard warning. That is the area shaded in purple. That does include Grand Forks. That does include Fargo. That includes just about the entirety of the Red River Valley. You look flanked off to the west of the Red River Valley. You look at James River, Devil's Lake Basin there, James River Valley, there we go, getting my words right here. You can also see as we go toward Roseau, Bemidji, parts of Lakes Country as well under the winter weather advisory. Finally, you see the areas shaded in orange there. That is just where we have a wind advisory. So let's start with that blizzard warning. This actually goes all the way through today into 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. Now, snow, again, varying widely depending on location. I will tell you, the farther north you are, it looks like right now the less, so you'll be in the lower end of this snow. You head farther south and toward Lakes Country in that range of maybe 4, 5, 6, even 6+ inches in some areas. So again, we're going to watch and we'll show you kind of the projection that we have of that precipitation coming up here in just 1 second. Some areas are going to kind of continue to get hammered through the better part of day and evening before the snow moves out. Others not getting quite as much snow. We're going to see wind gusts up to 45 as well. So even those areas that don't see as much snow, again, that wind whipping that snow around, creating those very poor travel conditions. Winter weather advisory, anywhere from 1 to 4 inches of snow in these areas. And again, for those folks farther west, Devil's Lake, Jamestown, Ellendale, Langdon, the impact of this storm in terms of snow is generally going to come a little bit earlier. The wind, though, it's going to be strong a little bit later in the afternoon, again blowing that snow around. So not quite blizzard conditions expected, but we are going to see poor travel conditions with the wind blowing the snow. I think the bigger difference there, not going to be as persistent. In other words, we're going to get little gaps here and there where the visibility isn't going to be so bad. And also, visibility, even though poor at times, will not be as bad. We're talking maybe down to a half mile, even less at some points, but it's not going to be as bad as those areas we saw shaded in pink, those areas in the blizzard warning. You can also see areas like Bemidji, Baudette, Roseau, Warroad, certainly in that area where we have that winter weather advisory as well. Again, about 1 to 4 inches of snow, wind gust up to 45 miles per hour. Finally, a wind advisory is in effect through midnight. That mainly encompasses southernmost portions of the Red River Valley, a little bit of Lakes Country as well. Northwest winds sustained at 25 to 35, wind gust up to 45 miles per hour. So with that in mind, let's show you our current satellite radar. This is as of about 9:30 this morning, and again, you can see pretty good coverage of snow. Some areas getting a little bit heavier snow than others. The darker the blue, that is where we're seeing the stronger, the heavier snow come down. Again, that snow in some areas already being blown around, though winds are not as strong as they are going to be a little bit later. Let's focus in here between Grand Forks, Fargo, and heading south. And also you can look out toward Castleton, up toward Hillsborough, even as far west as Cooperstown, Valley City, Lisbon. And you can see some of those darker shades of blue, again, up and down the Red River Valley, as well as portions of northwest Minnesota and just about all of eastern North Dakota. Again, he just got an update there, and you can see even a couple little spots here, including 29 between Fargo and Grand Forks, so we have that darkest color blue, indicating some pockets here or there of heavier snow for sure out there. So we'll move a little south, or a little closer in, I should say, to Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo. And again, you can see right now kind of a moderate snow. You head out toward Holly, closer to Detroit Lakes, we are finding that the snow is coming down a little bit lighter, but you head farther north on 29, as mentioned. And again, you can see some of the heavier snow. Now, let's show you the wind speeds out there as well. And again, right now, while it is breezy, wind gusts are not that bad. You get to Jamestown, certainly Sisseton, those winds are showing up a little bit stronger, but by and large, winds not as bad as they're going to be. And I'll have that projection for you coming up in just a minute. Now, as far as road conditions at this point, not picking up as necessarily terrible. We do have some areas in pink there indicating snow covered and icy, some blue, patchy snow and ice. But again, that ice, that snow continues to come down, going to continue to create poor travel conditions, worsening conditions as we move through the late morning, afternoon, and evening hours, especially when that wind really starts to pick up this afternoon. Kind of a wider view here. You can also see up toward northwest Minnesota, Crookston, parts of Grand Forks, snow-covered icy. I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm not guaranteeing this is going to happen. This is up, of course, to North Dakota Department of Transportation. Wouldn't be totally surprised if we did see eventually some road closed today, or certainly no travel advised type situations out there, just because of the projection of the wind, the continuation of snow, along with those winds getting quite a bit higher this afternoon and this evening. So we'll see about that. Just keep that in mind, though, if you do have to travel today. Just know that travel conditions, regardless, are going to be poor out there. So again, just if you can, it's a Sunday. If you can take it easy and stay indoors, watch the snow and the wind from inside, I think that's a good plan. If you absolutely have to go out, please be careful out there. So let's show you snowfall potential. Now here's what we've got for you. This is kind of encompassing the entire area. This goes now through midnight tonight. Area shaded in purple. That's where we have the best chance of seeing 5, 6, even 7 inches of snowfall. Notice though, as you head farther west, the progression there of that snowfall, or I should say the totals of snowfall, actually drop off pretty quickly. You're in Jamestown, about 1 to 2 inches of snow. Some of that's already come down. You'll get a little bit more, I do believe. Grand Forks, you're going to see maybe a couple, maybe up to 3 inches. In fact, what we're going to do is kind of move in on a couple of these areas. Notice Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo. These locations here, you're right in that spot. We're in about 4 to 5. Some of that, at least a little bit, has come down to this point. We'll continue to see more. What's going to happen is I think we'll see a gap in Fargo where for a while we don't see snow for maybe a couple, 3 hours. Then that snow will start to wind back around. So if you do get a break in snow from, let's say, 11, noon, 1 o'clock through about 3, 4 in the afternoon, it doesn't mean it's over, but it does mean we'll get a break there. And you head out toward Castleton, again, less than Fargo, Moorhead. You head out toward Tower City, Valley City, less than Castleton. And again, you're far enough west, you're not going to see a lot of snow. However, you're heading toward Holly, Detroit Lakes, Frazee. You look, you see 4 or 5, maybe 6+ inches of snowfall. Barnesville, Pelican Rapids, Rothsay as well. White Earth. So again, we're watching these locations heading farther north right now. Again, according to our weather model here, Grand Forks, you can see heading north, and especially north and west toward Cavalier, Langdon, Grafton, Fortville, Edmore. You're not seeing as much snowfall potential. Grand Forks, Crookston, could see 3 inches, maybe a little more. Now you head toward Thief River, Newfolden. Again, mentioned Crookston there. Now we're looking at about 4 inches of snow, at least that potential. Want to take you next, though, farther south. And here's what we've got as you head into Lakes Country. So this is Parker's Prairie, Battle Lake, Fergus Falls. As you can see, Elbow Lake, Pelican Rapids, New York Mills, Perham, Alexandria. That's the area most susceptible to getting about 5, 6, maybe more inches of snowfall. Now, this is the snow alone. Again, this does not encompass, of course, we'll show you the wind speeds here in just a second, but this giving you an idea that snowfall potential is going to be relatively high in those areas shaded in purple. So here's where we're sitting with our first alert forecast. Again, keeping in mind, you've got the darker blue indicating we're expected to see the heavier snow. And you also see those little wind arrows there. Those wind arrows, in other words, coming out of the northwest, the green, the blue there, indicating where the winds are going to get a little bit stronger. We start to see those yellow colors here. That's where we start to see winds gusts of 30, 40 plus, maybe more. 11 a.m., deeper blue snow areas, deeper blue color, I should say, indicating heavier snow. That's coming down as we look at areas like Detroit Lakes, Boston, Thief River. So again, walking through here, and I'll kind of move out of the way, in fact, and kind of give you an idea about what we've got. And you can see wind bars there. You can see Detroit Lakes. Now we're taking to about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Thief River, Boston, Detroit Lakes, Fergus Falls, those areas that had do have the best potential for seeing the heaviest snow. Those spots are going to, again, throughout the course of the day, you'll notice, continue to see the best chance for heavy snow. We move to 3 o'clock. Now we're starting to see, again, Fargo, Moorhead, getting back into that window where we expect to see the potential for a little heavier snow coming down. Detroit Lakes, Boston, Thief River, all the areas we've been talking about that are already susceptible to getting the most snow between now and 3 o'clock are going to continue to see some heavier snow out there. By 6 o'clock, we start to see the snow sagging farther south as this system pushes off to the south and the east. Fargo's still in the snow. Again, areas where we expect to see the most snow still in that potential for the heaviest snow. But you're also noticing some areas, certainly our northern areas, western areas by this point, are in the clear. We move to 8 o'clock. I think maybe a little snow hanging on at that point in Fargo, Moorhead, but by and large, we're starting to lose the intensity, lose the overall coverage of snow. You see those winds picking up. We got the wind bars there, some of them in yellow, and we'll take a look at specific wind speeds in just 1 second. But what you are going to find is that winds increase this afternoon, certainly this evening, and during the early overnight hours. By the time we get to about midnight there, looks like the snow's out. Could still see a few flurries in a few spots, but again, wind blowing that snow around. That's what we talk about, travel conditions getting worse, and the hope is that unless you absolutely have to head out, that you don't do so. And again, with those winds creating near whiteout conditions out there, wind gusts 45 plus miles per hour in some areas, blowing all that snow that has come down around. Really going to be a mess. Really, again, suggesting you don't travel today unless you have to. The deeper in the day we get, travel conditions are going to continue to worsen. And again, I can't say we're definitely going to see closed roads out there. What I can say is, would not be surprised that happens. There's certainly no travel advised issues. Again, that comes up, North Dakota Department of Transportation, Minnesota, they make those calls, just letting you know that weather-wise, I wouldn't be surprised based on what we're seeing. Fargo wind gust, 37 miles per hour, northwest, 11 a.m. Notice how it gradually picks up through the evening hours, but it's strong throughout the day. Looks like we're going to top out late this evening through the early morning hours tomorrow. You can see 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, those wind gusts are still strong. So if you're heading out tomorrow, heading back to work, maybe you've had the weekend since Christmas off, finally going back to work there, you're going to find some pretty tricky conditions tomorrow morning as well. So keep that in mind for that commute tomorrow. Overall wind speed, here's what we've got starting 10 a.m. And again, areas here shaded in orange. That indicates wind gust of 30 to 45, yellow 15 to 30. Should we see any red, that's wind gust of 45 plus miles per hour. Again, snow on the ground, snow falling, in addition to the wind here, very poor travel conditions. This is as of noon. You can see Fargo starting to get into that 30 to 45 range. Just about the entire southern half of the region in 30 to 45. Notice how that window creeps up by about 3 o'clock this afternoon as winds continue to pick up out of the northwest. Going to jump to 6 o'clock. Only getting worse in terms of coverage for sure out there, and you can see just about the entire region, certainly up and down the Red River Valley. In fact, the only spots that aren't seeing those strong gusts, or at least the strongest gust, are going to be extreme northwestern portions of the region and extreme northwest Minnesota as well. So with that in mind, we continue to watch the wind. Sunday this evening, 9 p.m. By then, the snow is just about exited the region, but it's that snow that's being blown around, that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches in some areas that has come down, in particular Lakes Country there. This is at midnight, moving towards 6 a.m. And again, I want to caution those who are heading back out on that morning commute. It's still going to be very windy. Even though it's not going to be wind speeds in many areas in the 30 to 45, we're still going to see 15 to 30. We've still got that snow on the ground. So again, morning commute going to be difficult, I think, in many locations as well. Finally, we're just going to take a look at our temperatures here. This is where we're sitting currently. Very cold. 1 Langdon, 6 Grand Forks, 7 Fargo. In fact, during the wind chill, it feels like teens, 20s below out there in some areas. Temperature is not going to go very far today. In fact, this is our wind chill right now, and you can see it. It feels like 14 below Fargo, 19 below Oaks, 18 below Jamestown. Not quite as cold as you head much farther east. In other words, Bemidji only 5 below. But again, this is wind chill. Winds are going to pick up. Again, driving cold air in. It is only going to feel colder throughout the afternoon and evening hours. Take a look at our 3 o'clock temperatures. We still have snow coming down, as you can see. Those wind bars sitting in that 30 to 45 range. Temperature 7 Fargo, 6 Grand Forks, 1 Langdon. Very similar, actually, to where we're sitting right now. So temperatures holding steady at very cold. The big difference is going to be the fact that we are going to have that snow out there and those winds increasing, which means wind chill values are only going to get worse. So pop back up full screen here. And again, just the big message here. We're going to get snow today. Many areas getting several inches of snow. The winds are going to get strong this afternoon. We're going to see wind gusts up to 45, maybe even a little bit higher in some areas. That combination, not good. We're talking about near whiteout travel conditions, progressively getting worse throughout the course of the late morning, afternoon, and certainly evening and overnight hours. Again, when the visibility is that poor, unless you have to be out, no need to be out there, and this is going to continue even into the morning commute. It won't be snowing tomorrow morning. Winds will lessen a little bit, but we're still going to see tough travel conditions. So keep that in mind. Keep yourself safe today if you can stay in. We've got some NFL today to watch for sure, or whatever you want to watch. Just make sure if you can, you stay indoors, stay warm, be careful out there, and yeah, just take care. Hope you have a wonderful day.